Hi viewers, this is your boy once again, Political Hamzy, talking about all things Nigeria and how it affects us, those in Nigeria and both those outside Nigeria. If you like this content, please subscribe and hit the like button. So today we're going to talk about Saudi Arabia. Well, although we know Saudi Arabia is not a democracy and they have their own issues concerning freedom of speech and other things, but we're not looking at that. What we're looking at is Saudi in relation to Nigeria as per resources and how things are implemented. Saudi Arabia is a country of about 35 million people, GDP of about $2.2 trillion. Also, Saudi Arabia, just like Nigeria, it has a 50% of its population under 25 years old. They have a very young population, just like Nigeria. Nigeria has a very young population, and it has the second largest proven oil reserves in the world, and the fifth largest gas reserves in the world. But what most people don't know, Saudi Arabia also is doing well in agriculture. They used to import wheat, but now they actually export wheat. But compared to Nigeria, Nigeria has more arable land than Saudi Arabia, and 80% of their workforce, most of their workforce are foreigners. So Nigeria, we have the manpower, we have the arable land, we have oil and gas, we have agriculture, we have gold. Saudi Arabia too has gold, but we have coal, we have iron ore, we have tantalite, we have gemstones, we have so many things. But the difference between us and Saudi Arabia is leadership and implementation. Look at what Saudi Arabia has done with the oil. They have developed that city, and they have this thing they call Vision 2030, because what the Saudis have realized is that oil is not going to last forever. So they're diversifying the economy to create wealth and employment in other areas, which we should do, but we're not doing this. Saudi Arabia, we know that tourism is not big in Saudi Arabia. So most of the people that travel to Saudi Arabia go there for the Hajj, for the pilgrimage. But what they're doing, like Dubai did, they're investing a lot in tourism, building cities, building railway lines. We have great tourist sites in Nigeria. We have Obudukatu Ranch, we have Yankari Game Resort. We have so many places, but they're all underdeveloped. Nobody cares about it. Then look at Saudi Arabia. You need to look at the commitment of their leaders. They go there and a project is completed and it's done to international standards. There's no like cutting ribbon when it's 90 or 80% completed. And because of implementation and good governance, people supervising these projects know that these projects have to be done properly to world standards. And the contracts that are signed, the contractor knows that, look, if I don't finish this contract, I'm not getting paid. There are ramifications. Nigeria should take a look at this, because we have so many projects that have been completed but not to world standards. Projects that have been left halfway, and you hear the contractor has been paid 90%, fully paid for the job, and they've not delivered anything. Look at Saudi Arabia. They spend so much on defense. Lockheed Martin's American defense company, Lockheed has invested $1 billion in Saudi. So this is going to help in training and manufacturing. So what we're looking at is that Saudi is spending so much on hardware and arms, but they're getting something back. They're going to set up factories, they're going to train their people. Just like us in Nigeria, we import so much vehicles, so much Toyotas for our legislators, but we're not getting anything back. Saudis make sure that anything they do, they get something back. We're here, and in the next 20 years, Saudi Arabia will be a world power. You know, we should look at what we do. We have legislators, we have things that are done in Nigeria, and you see a bridge 6 foot long made of wood, and they tell you, oh, we've connected the riverine area to the mainland. A bridge that they built with maybe 60,000 naira. We have oil companies. They go into a community of 5,000, 10,000 people. They build one borehole for 10,000 people, and they tell you we've brought water to the rural area. They go in there, they renovate a school block. The school block is not even renovated to international standards. They tell you, oh, we've provided education. And you look at all these companies, what they're getting out of Nigeria, but we're getting nothing in return. So sometimes we should ask ourselves, those in government that are involved in implementation, even the Attorney General's office that is meant to oversee these contracts, what kind of contracts are they signing? It seems that things are being signed that doesn't benefit Nigeria. We should look at the Saudi plan, how they're doing things. We have a lot of our legislators, our House of Assembly members, they've been to Saudi Arabia. They see how it's done. Look at Saudi. They want to open up the economy. You see them, they're hosting boxing tournaments, boxing fights in Riyadh. They're investing a lot in their football league. But what people don't realize, this investing in the football league they're doing, they now start investing in the grassroots. Before you know, Saudi Arabia in the next 5 years will have 10 years will have a football team that can compete with the very best in the world. We do not invest in our people, we do not invest in our country, and we do not do things the right way. We need to take a hard look. We've been in the same position for the last 30 years. And if we're not careful, the next 30 years we'll be in the same position, and countries like Saudi Arabia will already be a superpower. Maybe our legislators or our leaders, they're finding it hard to implement these things because the people they surround themselves with, they look at them as friends, and they do not know how to drop the hammer on their friends. But look at it this way. You're here to serve a nation of 200 plus million people. Do not let a relationship with 1 or 2 people get in the way of what 200 million people will benefit. We just had, our governors just had a retreat in Rwanda on governance. It's not just about going there for the retreat and saying, yes, we've seen what Rwanda has done. We've learnt, we've picked 1 or 2 things. It is coming back to Nigeria and implementing, and not only implementing what you've learned, to make sure it is done properly. But the funny thing is that even this retreat, they have gone to Rwanda and done a study, and they were taught certain things. They already know these things. And sometimes I feel, oh, maybe their advisors are not telling them the right things. But our legislators, they do know what we need. They do know what the problem is. And you're in the right position to make a difference in Nigeria. You can be the ones to make a difference. We implore you. Nigeria is for all of us, and we want to see Nigeria great again. This is Political Hamzy, and I hope we've picked up one or two things from here. And I'll see you guys next week. You take care. Thank you.